In SEP, we've been talking about that, National Center for Environmental Prediction, and now one segment of that is the Climate Prediction Center, which we talk about a lot, and that's what Jacob's going to discuss.
We show a lot of their maps on air. You might not know that a lot of them are made by the Climate Prediction Center, so we're going through the series here under the umbrella of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, talking first about the center that focuses on long-range outlooks, and then in the coming weeks we'll get into the shorter-range forecasting centers. But climate is what we expect, weather is what we get, as said by Mark Twain. So there's a distinct difference between weather and climate. Weather is short-term changes in the atmosphere in the minutes, hours, and coming days. Forecasts of specific events in that shorter time scale. Climate describes average weather conditions in a specific area over a long period of time, typically 30 plus years, and that can show us patterns over time. So with the 30 plus years, we use that 30-year average, past 30 years, to come up with our climate normals. And for May, this is what our climatological averages are. So for May 1st, today, 63 degrees normal high temperature. By the end of the month, climatologically, we're typically in the mid-70s. And you can see that for our normal lows and precipitation as well. Again, that's the climate, what we expect for a month. Well, what's the forecast for this month of May? And this is from the Climate Prediction Center, using a bunch of different models and prediction tools to come up with this map. Equal chances, so we'll dive into what that means in a couple of minutes for above or below normal temperatures, and at roughly equal chances of above or below normal precipitation as we go through this month. So you can really expect near normal as we go through this month of May. For a little bit of a shorter range, 6 to 10 days, that's where the Climate Prediction Center starts their outlooks. And we can expect above normal amounts of precipitation and a slight signal towards below normal temperatures. But where you can see this difference between below normal and above normal temperatures, they can really trace out the jet stream pattern across the country. So what do these maps mean? So you see that cooler than normal and warmer than normal on the maps, but in the middle you have that equal chances. That's a third chance of well below normal, a third of a chance of near normal, and a third of a chance of well above normal. If you go to the cool side of things, and it's in that dark blue shading, that's a pretty high confidence in well below normal temperatures. It doesn't dictate the magnitude. It doesn't mean that temperatures will be very below normal. It just means that it'll be below that climatological average for the past 30 years. And the same thing, the higher the confidence that you have on the warmer side, the darker the color will be on that map. So to predict these long-range forecasts, you have to look at teleconnections. There's significant relationships or links between weather phenomena at widely separated locations all around the globe. And you can think of the jet stream as a superhighway carrying weather systems all around the globe. And with the peaks and troughs to the jet stream, that impacts temperature, rainfall, winds, etc. And it all has downstream impacts, like a river, where if there's a dip or a peak in the jet stream over the Pacific Ocean, that will have an impact over North America. And it behaves like a seesaw, these teleconnection patterns, positive or negative phases where the jet stream's in certain positions. That leads to different temperature and precipitation outlooks. And here's a whole list of the teleconnections that we as meteorologists look at, the Climate Prediction Center looks at to make these outlooks. A lot of them are in the Pacific Ocean, and with weather moving west to east, that has pretty big impacts here in the United States. So everything is connected around the globe. El Nino is in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, but that can have impacts on rainfall all across the globe when you look at those jet stream patterns. So multiple teleconnections happen at the same time, and they can override each other, or they can constructively amplify the signal. So there's lots of chaos and noise in the atmosphere all around the globe. So we need to parse out all of that data, and the director of the CPC will kind of explain that here.
I mean, this can be characterized as a small signal, large noise problem. And so you are just getting these shifts in a probability space, and you need to understand that, right? So that if we say it's a 50% probability of being above normal temperature at your location, that means a 50% probability of not being above normal, right? And so you have to look at both sides of that coin.
So you have to look at those probabilities still when you're looking at these maps. There's still a chance that it'll be above normal even though you're in that favoring for below normal. It's all about where the odds are favoring in your specific location. When you look at all of these different signals, the teleconnections are one tool that these forecasters have, but also long-range weather forecast models. They can be pretty powerful when looking at all this data to parse through it to make the outlooks. Other products that the CPC is responsible for are seasonal outlooks. So when you see us talk about the outlook for the upcoming summer, they're a really good guide that we can go off of. They have hazard outlooks for the next 2 weeks, so above or below normal temperatures, excessively high temperatures, or maybe an onset of drought coming, because they also talk about the drought outlook. They partner with the drought monitor and look at even drought information systems across the globe and famine that can happen in certain parts of the globe. So it's really a support network throughout different agencies that they have to communicate with. And they've even looked into ocean monitoring and help with the Hurricane Center outlook each summer. So it's a pretty big breadth that they have to forecast for in that longer range. And then there's other centers that we'll talk about in the coming weeks that focus more on the short range forecasting.
Looking forward to that too.
Okay, thank
so
you.
it's not just looking out the window. There's a lot of data points. that go
I
into it.
never said that,
All right.
so you did.
Maybe
It's a
you
little
would think that.
defensive.